And we have here the new Audi A4 B9. So this is thoroughly redesigned. It's an all-new car. I know all reviewers out there are saying that this car looks like the old one, but to me it doesn't, because I know Audis. I know my Audis inside out, and it's very, very different. In Europe, actually, it's called Ultra. Why it's called Ultra? Audi has this new strategy whereby they have all the fuel-saving technology, and they separate their engine models. So this one has a lower output. It has 190 horsepower, and I don't know about the torque. You Google it yourself. All right. So you can see that most cars have a line that runs across the bonnet. Why? Because of pedestrian crash test. All right. They need to have a plastic panel that runs up to here, so that when an idiot crosses the road and got hit by the car, it will be less damaging for him. Yes. So, is this metal? Yes, it is metal. How Audi does it is, if you look at the front, it sort of bulges out. This part bulges out. So this is the plastic part that will take the idiot first. Then he will sort of fall on the bonnet. So Audi doesn't need to run a line across the bonnet, all right, to save the idiots who doesn't know how to cross the road or jaywalking and all that. Audi is obsessed with reducing panel gaps and panel lines, because to them they want a very clean design. They never liked lines that runs across the bonnet. So, and if you notice, where's the hood opening? Right? Another thing is, most cars have a line that runs across here for the opening of the hood. Audi doesn't. So this one, actually you can see this is the hood. It runs across the side, and it hides the opening of the hood with the body line. Alright? You might not know car manufacturing, but it's actually very difficult to achieve this. It's very difficult to achieve the same line that runs across here and to hide the bonnet opening with a static line. This is actually a stamping line, right? They stamp the metal, and this part is the folding of the body panel, and then that's the hood. And it's seamless. It's just one line that runs across, which is quite amazing in that sense. Alright, let's look at the boot first. Yeah, I think it's the most spacious in class. You have some nets here, some hook points, some compartments where you can put stuffs. And now, I've said this in other reviews, that I hope car makers would, all this carpeting will cover the top part as well. Yes, it's not a part where you normally can see, but as a premium car, I hope car makers can start putting carpet to cover the top part. Audi is not the only one that does this. All car makers are like that, be it BMW or Mercedes or Lexus or every one of them. They just leave this bare metal out there instead of covering it nicely with some panel carpets. It doesn't cost a lot actually. You have some hooks here for your shopping stuffs. This part as well, which is nice. Alright, that's the boot. There is a ski opening there. For Europeans, they carry their ski, so they need to drop that part and slot it right in. Alright, this has a swan neck construction. The old B5 has the Caesar hinge, which is really nice. Why? Because the Caesar hinge is mounted here, which means it doesn't eat into the boot space. But why more and more car makers are using swan neck? Because it naturally balances the weight of the trunk, so that they can have the option of installing a motor, which gives you, powered tailgate or not. And when they don't install the motor, or you don't spec it if you're in Europe, it actually allows you to open and close very lightly. Okay, you don't need to use a lot of strength. Some guys are checking out a 911 over there. I believe you can see me now. Decent headroom, decent knee room, very decent knee room. It is somewhat slightly larger than the previous A4, the previous B8 A4. You know, when Audi launched the B8, it is so much larger than the competition. But now everyone has grown their car in sizes. Um, the This one is just about there. I think it sort of matches the 3 Series. No. It's slightly larger than the 3 Series or the C Class, and by far larger than the XE. You know the Jaguar XE, right? When you sit at the back, when I sit at the back of the Jaguar XE, my head is lodged against the seat, the roof of the car. I can't even slot my fingers through, and then my knees are buried deep into the seat backs of the front seat. So the Jaguar XE has useless rear seats, but none of the British journalists point that out because they are all lying. So, and then you have this one. This one is available in the previous car as well. Everything looks very familiar, you know, very high quality paneling there. Let's have a look at this. Oh, that's a new mechanism. There you go. The old one, you have a slightly longer armrest, and then you open the rear cover for some compartment. This is really shallow, and then damn, that's cost cutting for you. You can say it's cost cutting, you can say it's learning from experience, because the old one opens up to a certain extent, and if you push it more you might break it. Now it's almost like, don't break me because I can fold all the way to the back, something like that. Now the cup holders, how do you operate that? Interesting, I've never seen this mechanism. It works like that. So you push it out. This is for Red Bull, and that's for Coca-Cola. All right. Yeah, Red Bull, Coca-Cola. So, and then you can open this part. How do you open that? I'm not sure. I'm sure I can figure it out. All right, Isofix hook covers. Is it still the, yeah? When you're able to remove the whole thing, means you will lose this in time. I've lost mine. Case. Very nice. It is 40 20 40 split folding. So that means I can open this part as well. Oh no, it's not 40 20 40. This part is independent. So from the rear you can open it like that and push it down. Okay, so that's the top feeder for the Isofix, and the opening is very nice, very wide. That's a bit, yeah. It doesn't look very premium in terms of how the seat looks. You look at it, right? You know, Mercedes now is like super swanky, right? Their seats, you have, you know, dual tone, and then they are very shapely and all that. But sitting on it, I love it. It's comfortable, but it doesn't look comfortable. It just looks. And then you look at all this. What's all this? I know it's a stitching line, but there's no reason for it to be there. Is that even design? It's not very nice looking, right? Yeah. Alright, let's start the car. Now, what is this? This is a new thing that Audi introduced into the A4, and also it is available in the Q7. You know, when you are sitting at the front, you are the front passengers, and then your rear passengers are like, oh, it's so hot, can you blow up the air conditioning? And then you blow it up, right? And then it's like blasting air across your face. What this does is that it diffuses the air so that the same volume of air can be, you know, pumped out, but the intensity is less, so that you don't feel that uncomfortable. All right. Looking at the entire cabin, I really don't like how it is spec. Maybe it's a limitation. Maybe it's they couldn't do much variation in how to spec it. It just looks really somber. You know, gray, black, dark gray, black gray, dark gray. You know, it's this is leather, high quality, but there's no patterns there. It could have been, you know, another color, white or red or something. You know, it just it at least make it more exciting. It looks so dull. It looks super dull. You okay when I open the glove box, it drops down slowly. It's damped, right? When I close it, right, it feels so light. It's high quality, no doubt. This part is beautifully designed. And then when I run my fingers across, it's actually sensitive, touch sensitive. So what it does is that you can push up and you can push down. See? There's it's dual function, up and down, up and down. The concept looks great, but it would be great if I can keep on pressing it and then it will toggle, it will run across, but it doesn't. Yeah, I believe it must be some costly stuff. This thing must be costly, but it adds on to the sensation, you know, of premiumness. You know, these are the things that you don't get in Volkswagen. These are the things that you get in Audi. That's how they separate that now. Yeah, the drive select is here. Everything is, you know, hidden and all that is clean. And all A4s used to have a long compartment here, and then the cup holders are like sideways, you know, which is very convenient. And this one, I don't know what this does, except for the key. And then this screen is really nice. It's seamless. I am a proponent of analog dials. I like analog dials because they look more real. They look more genuine. And this is a very high quality, beautifully designed speedo cluster. Yes, the Audi virtual cockpit is just amazing. It is the best LCD panel cockpit there is. Would I take this or that? I would struggle actually. Alright, nothing much. Everything is alright. I like this part. I really love this. The previous one, they have the window controls over here, and then where you grab the door is here, which on a long journey you can't really slot your hand in. This is really nice. This part where you can put your hand here and then just rest on a long journey drive is more comfortable. Alright. Like all Audis, they design excellent door bins. You can put a 1.5 liter bottle here, but somehow weirdly this time around they sort of seal off the back end. The old ones, right, the old ones is full length and the opening is wider. This is damn annoying. The old one, right, the opening is wider and you won't get anything lodged inside, but this new one, they sort of covered it up, so I don't quite like that. Same goes with this side. Yeah, that's the cabin of the new A4. It's spacious. It's very well built. You have all this beautiful detailing. You know, all these switch gears are very high quality. Everything feels very substantial, very solid. All right. I think, what else should I talk about? This remains. I love this. I love the way that Audi doesn't click lock the center armrest, because sometimes you might put a lot more stuff and then you just leave it like that. There's no point in click locking this. Of course, you can argue that some cars allow you to put things inside and then you can lock it. So when you go for a car wash and all that, yes, but on day-to-day usage, when you put your MP3s and all that, the cables can run free, you can take it out, nothing hinders it. That feels a lot better. Alright, and this is the same as any Audi from the first A4 until now. I love this. You know, you can angle it however you want so that it serves as an armrest, right? I love this. Please don't change that. Okay, And what else? Oh, I forgot about this. This is the crazy compartment. That sound is just super annoying. Okay, most cars have a fuse box here, right? Look at Audi. It's a compartment, right? A lot of cars have a compartment here, right? Let me show you this. Look at my arm. Okay, I'm gonna hold a fist, alright? And I'm gonna fist the car. Do you see that? My entire forearm fits into this. This is a mad compartment. I love it. It's like a surprise. It's like an Easter egg. Right. So I guess that's it. Do I have any visibility issues in the car? No visibility issues. Visibility is excellent. Right? Thin A-pillars and all that is nice. And then there's this little gecko here that tells you Audis are supposed to be quattro, which this is not. Driving this compared to the B8, the biggest difference is how light the car feels. Not only just the weight that is on paper lighter, but the overall feel of the car. The entire car just feels very light-footed. And I'm sure being light is good because it saves you fuel, it gives the car a very agile front end, and it just feels that the car is taking less toll on itself on a day-to-day driving basis. However, no matter how, of course the interior build quality is superb. Audi's has always been absolutely, precise when it comes to their fit and finish. Even if you try and use your knee to push the entire center console, nothing moves, right? Nothing will like move around and all that. That's Audi for you. They are just freaking solid. But there is a sense of, again, that kind of feeling whereby it no longer feels like, back then you go into a BMW or an Audi or a Mercedes-Benz, right? There is the sense of heft. It has that kind of weighty heft that gives you the familiarity to the kind of demeanor that premium car has. And if all of them feel very sophisticated, very stout and heavy. Everything is heavy. The door is heavy. Everything is heavy. When you get up the car, the moment you want to push the throttle, the initial part almost seems that there are no response, and then you have to apply a bit. That kind of sense of heft is completely gone. So you drive this car and cover your eyes, you wouldn't be able to tell it's an Audi if you come from a B8 or a B7 or a B6. This bugger here, it literally irons off everything. It filters off everything, not to the extent where you don't feel a thing, that you can't corner. In fact, it is the pliancy of this car helps with allowing you to basically, I wouldn't call it drive faster, but you do not need to slow down that often. You can have a very powerful car, with Olin suspension and all that, but the moment you saw a rough patch that you have to brake, right? Or those speed bumps and all that, where your car's suspension will bottom out. What I mean by bottom out is when you go through a speed bump too fast, and then your suspension goes ka-tong. It's a horrible feeling. We all hated that, but a lot of cars just couldn't cope with that. When you go past a speed bump at speeds of say 30, 35, you get that. This bugger can do it at what, 40, 45? And it just does that, glides over it, and no drama, nothing. It's very reminiscent of the Ford Focus, the Ford Fiesta, basically any Ford, right? Their suspension is just amazing. And what I kind of feel here is that I think this one is even slightly better in doing so than the Ford Focus, for example. And that's quite something. It's an accurate steering. It is somewhat light, well weighted. No feel. No feel is expected, I think, in all cars nowadays, right? No, that day I drove an Aston Martin. Brilliant steering, except the fact that the Aston Martin steering cannot telescope, which is anyway. Yes, the steering is no longer as heavy, all right, as previous Audis, and it feels very different. It feels closer to a Volkswagen than an Audi. Audi of yesteryears, you know, the B8s and all that. You know, the rated 0 to 100 is 7.3 seconds. I actually did a run yesterday on a straight road, completely safe, no other cars around. I got 6.54, which is very good. 6.54. Wow. No doubt it can be fuel efficient, no doubt it is fast when it changes gears, but from throttle to it engage, then it jalan, it's slow. When I'm off the throttle, like now, it's almost like a, I'm sure, I know they have all these advanced fuel saving features, you know, that disengages it and it lets the car cruise, like almost like a free gear, and then you went back on the throttle, you will re-engage back. But it would be great if you make that seamless, then it will be fantastic. But if it intrudes into your day-to-day driving, then it's not a very good thing. It's a good concept, it's fuel efficient, no doubt, but in terms of the execution, it just have that, it just gives you that detached feeling, you know. Oh, throttle, okay, throttle off, okay, you know. I don't like how it feels. It's a nice car, but doesn't really feel like an Audi, honestly speaking. It doesn't. You know, my old A4 has a tiny little flip here, because at times the sun will shine through here, and then they have this thing that flips down. Audi. And then now if I put my hand here, I can touch all the door rubber seals. My old A4 has a piece of super high quality plastic that feels like wood, that runs all the way from here all the way across the window frame. Why? When you put your hands here, it feels superb. I'm a touchy-feely guy, but when you're just resting your hands here, right, the sensation where your palm rests on it feels so good. It's almost like a super high quality wood that is matte polished, and it's smooth and cold to the touch, slightly chilling to the touch. It feels great. But now this is like any Volkswagen, you know, with the rubber seal here, you know, and all that. You can just touch them. Yes, most cars are like that, but Audi, do not forget how you got your name, right? It came from all this attention to detail back then, of course. Yeah, it's not the highest spec MMI. The seats are basic. It looks basic. It doesn't look premium. The seat doesn't look premium, even though it's powered, you know. But and then the interior is just, I don't know. Okay, there might be options that owners can choose. This is just not tastefully spec'd. I hope that's the case, because if you're able to spec, like, you know, the car in red and then the leather seats in brown, that would be awesome. That would be nice. But I'm not sure if that's available. Right, cheers.